Well, welcome back to Talking with Tad. My goodness, it has been such a long time. In fact, I had to go over everything in my head, so I'm hoping I get it all right. But I'm sure that you have been following Tad Talks, which have been filled with so much information. You know, we have just, I mean, it's like nonstop since the new president has taken over. He has undone everything President Trump has done and striving to do even more. It's really disheartening, such as like HR1, which they want to federalize our elections. So TAD Talks has been filled with information about that. Election integrity, about our calls on Friday morning. I know 7 a.m. on Friday morning, but they are just filled with so much information, but they're call to action. It's just not listening, or you get up to Zoom and you have to get all dressed. This is something we want you to learn. We want you to be educated about, but we want you to do something. So there's always a call to action at the end of our calls. So you're all welcome to join us. You will see that link in any one of our TAD Talks. But today, what we are going to do is we have two special guests today, and these are young Republicans. I mean, the Texas young Republicans that are going to share what they do, which is pretty incredible how they help with different campaigns, they get out among the people, the grassroots, which is just so important to be with and to engage. And these guys, they know how to do it. So today we are very blessed to have the chairman of the Young Republicans, Hayden Padgett. Did I say it right, Hayden?
Padgett.
Oh,
almost
Padgett.
though. Almost got it.
Oh, so I'm really bad at names. I apologize, but at least it was close. And then Jason Vaughn. I got that one right, I think, Jason.
You got that right.
Okay, good. And he is the policy director for the Young Republicans on the state level. Well, gentlemen, I want to turn this over to you. Give us a little bit of history, or a lot of history, about the Texas Young Republicans right here in Texas. What are you doing? And let us know any special events that are coming up. And then also we want to know, how can young Republicans get involved? So hey, Chairman, I'm going to start off with you. You tell us a little bit about what's going on, and then you can kick it over to Jason.
That sounds great. And Tony Ann, thank you for having us on. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. I'm just so grateful for all the work you do for the party, and so glad to have you represent us on the national committee. So as you said, I'm Hayden Padgett with two T's, not an N, though they're just slight tangent there. My wife used to compete in pageants. So our wedding hashtag was Padgett, or pageants to Padgett. So it's just kind of, anyway, the Texas Young Republicans are the largest young Republican organization in the country, as you would expect from a great state like Texas. But our history starts with the National Young Republicans. The Young Republicans were started 85 years ago in New York City. And actually it was Hoover who created the Young Republicans through the RNC at the time. And within a couple of years, we spread to Texas. And so we were started about 83 years ago. And so we have a very long history of working with college students, working with high school students, working with young professionals, which is what we cover now. About in the 70s, the Young Republicans split from covering all those areas to having individual organizations to focus on each of them. So you got the teenage Republicans, the college Republicans, and then the young Republicans. But we like to say we're the parent of all those folks. We're the ones who created everybody. But our goal forever has solely been to elect Republicans. But the way we do that is by training young people in the mechanics of politics, how to actually get people elected, what to do in a party organization, how to be plugged in, who to know, how to network, and how to be most effective as an activist, so that we can be the best volunteers possible, the best grassroots activists, and also we can train the next generation of leaders to be even better than the ones before us, just because we've trained them from such an early age. And that mission is carried on to today. What we do a little different here in Texas is that beyond all of that electoral work, we also spend a lot of time focused on policy and making sure that the priorities of our organization, which are always a subset of the priorities of the larger Republican Party of Texas, are enacted by our legislature. Jason, you want to tell us a little bit about how we do that with policy?
Sure. So I actually am the policy director and then during session, what we primarily do is every week, a representative from every club is invited onto a call, and we actually go for like 2 hours. These are some of the most dedicated policy people that you have ever met. We've started doing it where we meet with a different legislator to talk about different bills they might be working on, but then we dive into bills that we're interested in. We've got 5 priorities this session. Those are pro-life bills, which are the heartbeat bill and Prenda, our gun bills, which include constitutional carry, which we just did a survey of our members. 80% of our members support constitutional carry. So I've heard some people try to say this is a 50-50 split. It's not. It's 80% of young Republicans support constitutional carry. Then we have ending gun-free zones. We have some cannabis reform issues, some bail reform issues, and then governmental overreach. We want to make sure that that the government is never reaching too far into our lives, especially during a pandemic situation.
Wow, I'll tell you, you guys there is no question you are busy. And so active. I mean, even I know that like you step up to the plate on our morning call, 7 a.m. One of your members, Karen Marshall, in fact, I think that she sits on the state board as the alumni chair. She, I needed someone to read the questions, and Karen and I have a friendship. She's in San Antonio with me here in Bernie. And I said, Karen, will you do that? Man, she stepped up to the plate and does an awesome job. And that's what I think what shows with all the young Republicans, which I think is so important, and all of your training. Tell me a little bit about who are you going to be helping in the next couple months? Because if I'm not mistaken, you guys are going out maybe helping some campaigns, and these are nonpartisan campaigns. Is this correct?
We definitely are. The core of what the young Republicans do is, as I said, help get Republicans elected. And so we were very active last year. 9 deployments across the state, folks in the Texas House. We played, I would say, probably a small part, but a significant part in making sure we kept the Texas House. But we also recognize that where the future leaders start is at the municipal level. And so it's really important that Republicans don't just let it go and assume it's going to be fine in the cities and the school boards. We want to get involved. And there's a lot of races where, while they're nonpartisan, there's a Democrat and a Republican running. And they're very clear by their voting records and who they support and who supports them. And so we want to find those places, particularly ones where young Republicans are running, people under 40, and we want to help them get elected. We're really good at that. And a lot of these races, a couple hundred votes decides the winner. So we think by deploying across the state for a few number of targeted municipal races, we can make the difference between a city council being progressive or kind of squishy to being a solid conservative city council or solid conservative school board. And so that's what we're going to be doing over the next few months through May. And then we'll be helping out nationally with a couple other deployments to help recall Gavin Newsom, for instance, in California, and hopefully get a Republican in there. That's one we're going to help with. And Virginia, we think we can help them take back their state legislature. But all of that's going to be in preparation for 2022, when we're going to work real hard to take back a couple congressional seats here in Texas and grow our majorities in the Texas House.
Well, I think that one of the things that we'll be seeing maybe in 2022 is that we're going to see that we're going to add a 2, 3, maybe 4 seats, congressional seats. So it's going to be so important to be involved in that. And it's so important to get these young people that the young Republicans involved in running for office. Jason, do you have any idea of how many young Republicans that we have elected here in Texas at all?
We're trying to we have a phenomenal political director named Matt Dorsey. He's doing such a great job. And we're working on building a list, because part of it's just we have 40 clubs across the state, and we're trying to make sure that we know what's going on. I know we have around 10 young Republicans in the Texas House. That's primarily where I work. So we've got Briscoe Kane, we've got Jeff Leach, Matt Krause, Cody Vasut, Lacey Hull, and there's several others I'm missing right now. So I apologize to them if I miss them, but just doing, not just actually leading. Shelby Slauson is leading on things like the heartbeat bill, and I'm sorry, but she's not a young Republican, but close. Lacey Hull's coming in. I've been thinking about our Texas women a lot, because it's Texas Women's History Month, or it's Texas History and Women's Month. So I apologize for that. But we've got so many amazing people that are doing, Matt Krause, Briscoe Kane leading election integrity now to make sure that our elections are secure. The number one issue across the Republicans every time a poll is done.
Well, and you're absolutely right. And that's what the RPT, that was their number one priority too. But let me brag a little bit about Chairman Kane. As you say, a young Republican. He was on one of our 7 o'clock call, 7 a.m. call, our call to action call, and he came in as the chair. And I will tell you, gentlemen, he was awesome. It was an absolute fabulous exchange between the chairman and the people that were participating and listening. I mean, people are still talking about it. So we're very excited about him being there. He is receiving information. We created an email so that people could send in thoughts and ideas. Instead of them talking to us, he's listening to us and coming about all of that. So it is so impressive of all these young Republicans that are involved. But now I do know that there is something that's coming up that you guys want to share that's a really big deal that we want to promote. And what is that? Who is going to tell us about that?
Well, Jason, I think you should start this one.
All right. First off, it has been a year, y'all. I think we can all agree on that. There's no question about it. We have been through COVID. We have been through the election. We have been through a storm. But y'all, it is morning in Texas again, and we are excited about the future. And that is why we are going to have an event celebrating Texas, celebrating our priorities, and bringing all of our legislators together. We're going on March 23rd at the Kalahari Resort. It's just north of Austin, so you don't have to go to Austin, folks. So it's just north of Austin in Round Rock, Texas. It's owned by a Republican. Excuse me, but I'm very excited, if you couldn't tell, because it's going to be a great night, because we're going to have, it's our legislative dinner. You can go to texasyr.gop to find out more about it, to get tickets, or just go to our Facebook page, but it's texasyr.gop. The first link you'll see is all about where you can buy tickets. They start off at just $100. Now, listen, you can't come. You know what? Don't worry about it. Go buy a ticket for another young Republican to come, or if you'd like to sponsor the dinner, you can contact me. But it's going to be so much fun. I hope you can be there. The governor's coming, the lieutenant governor's coming, the speaker's coming. We're going to be presenting our legislative priorities. We're going to have so much fun with about 40 legislators coming. The theme for the evening is Happy Warriors, because we are going to fight. We're going to fight in 2022. We're going to fight for the legislation, but we're going to do it with joy, and we're going to bring people to us. It's going to be a phenomenal evening, and I hope you'll join us on March 23rd at the Kalahari, texasyr.gop.
So what maybe, Chairman, you could tell us a little bit of what all that money is going to be used for, because I think that it sounds like if you guys are so active that money has some major play here in Texas.
It absolutely does. And I want to just brag on Jason a little bit for all the work he's been doing for this legislative dinner. It's certainly going to be, in my estimation, the best event of the legislative season. Particularly because of how many of our legislators are going to be able to attend this one. But those funds, so they're going to do a few things this year. First, it's going to help get our YRs to the Capitol, to our representatives, to lobby on behalf of those 5 issues that Jason talked about. These are the ones that our members feel really strongly about, but again, are rooted in the priorities of the RPT as well. So there's no conflict there. We're fighting for the same things. The second thing it's going to go to are those municipal elections that we talked about earlier. It's going to get our people down to South Texas, down along the border, to Houston or to Austin, wherever we're going to go to help flip city councils and make them conservative. And then the last part is they're going to go and build our war chest so that when 2022 comes around and we're heading in the summer and the fall, we have enough funds to get hundreds of YRs across the state to take those congressional seats that we get and make them Republican, take back congressional seats that we should not have lost in Dallas and in Houston, and grow our majorities in the Texas House. That's what all those funds are going to go to.
And that's so important. That's why it's important to give and to participate. I mean, it's nice to give, but it's so important to be there if you can. Well, guys, you have shared so much, and it is such a pleasure to hear all of this activity that's going on. We're going to start wrapping it up, but what we do on Talking with Tad is that we share a fun fact. So each one of you, if you would please share something fun about you that our listeners don't know and will be excited to hear. So who would like to go first?
I think Jason has a wonderful fun fact that he should share first.
Okay, go for it, Jason.
I want to know I'm trying to figure out which one Hayden is thinking about. I'm not sure, but I was going to share, the one I was going to share is based on this photo right here. If you can tell, it's a bunch of people in blue being surrounded by people in orange. That's actually, the people in blue are conservatives. That's unusual. I realize that. But it's from 2013 when we were fighting for that omnibus pro-life bill, and they came in and they started shouting us down and surrounding us. This photo came out of it and it spread virally. But the other thing that actually spread was people chanting "Hail Satan" at pro-life people, and it trended on Twitter for 3 days. So I tell people my biggest pro-life accomplishment is getting "Hail Satan" trending on Twitter, because nobody wanted to associate with them after that. And even the Church of Satan of London tweeted out, "We got nothing to do with these people."
Ah, nice. So that is a fabulous fact. Well, good for you to be a part of that, Jason. Great, thank you. And then what about you, Chairman?
Well, I don't have a trending hashtag on Twitter to talk about, but I'll go a little personal on my background outside of politics, totally unrelated. So I actually, when I went to school, I was a poli-sci major, kind of boring and pretty typical of people in politics, but I wasn't originally a poli-sci major. I was actually a opera major. So I was really training to be a vocal music major. I sang in choirs for years, traveled Europe through choir. So that's my fun fact.
Wow, does that mean that you're going to end by singing? And
Absolutely not. No.
Well, now we know. I mean, Jason, you look like you were very surprised about that fun fact.
I mean, I knew he could sing. I've heard him sing a couple times. He doesn't do it enough, but yeah, I have some new plans for the meeting on March 23rd at the Kalahari.
There you go.
GOP.
There you go.
I'm scared of that.
Well, gentlemen, again, thank you so much. You do awesome work. Thank you, all of your members, what they do in engaging. Let us continue to fight the fight, do the challenge. We are not giving up. As President Trump says, this is the party, and this is the right party to be a part of, and we are going to make a difference, and we are going to continue to stay red in Texas and help all of the United States go red, and we're going to do that through the grassroots. Thank you all for what you do, and thank you, gentlemen, for being with us today, and God bless you all.